New at 4 in today's Community Focus, will Hasbro stay or will they go? It's just one of the big headlines coming out of Pawtucket. Mayor Grebien joins me now. Thanks for being here.
And thanks for having me, Kim. It's great to be here, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So we had House Speaker Joe Shekarchi on Newsmakers over the weekend, and he sounded a little bit more optimistic about the chances of Hasbro staying in Rhode Island after his most recent conversation with the CEO over there. What are you thinking about the chances that they will stay in your city?
Fair question. I mean, we're out there and having conversations with them. We're putting proposals in front of them, and probably in the next couple months they'll have to make a decision. I feel very strongly that Pawtucket's the right place for many different reasons. You know, I've had these conversations with Chris Cox and his team. Besides the advantages of being on the water, being part of all the new excitement and the renaissance, we also have our TIF legislation, the super TIF legislation, which we received when we lost the Paw Sox. Remember that? And what that does is it gives us another 15 to 20% advantage over any other community. So whatever the state puts on the table from tax incentives, we can do better. So I think financially we have the best package. I feel they're going to do what they're going to do, but they're being respectful. They're being upfront. They've been meeting with everybody. They're giving our team members to get information. So it's their choice. But I think no matter what, listen, I want them here in Pawtucket. It's their home. We know they're not staying there. But, you know, Pawtucket, then Rhode Island, I tell everybody. So there's no reason they should leave and continue, you know, Pawtucket's their home. So
another big headline out of your city is, of course, Tidewater Landing, which is where the new soccer team will be playing coming up this spring. Let's talk about the other piece of Tidewater Landing, which is housing. Can you remind the folks at home sort of where that piece of it stands? So,
you know, I say we're in final discussions and negotiations on that. They've got a plan together. They approximate better than 600 units housing. Probably 15 to 20%-ish is going to be affordable, and then the rest will be mixed use. But they're on track with that. The timeline, putting it together. You should see a shovel in the ground potentially at the end of this year once we get everything done. We have the bridge as well. So again, it's always been more than a soccer stadium. It's about that activity down there. The stadium's going to be open in May 3rd, but we'll have the walkway, and over the next 2 or 3 years, you'll start to see that develop, and we're excited about it, really are.
And on the topic of housing, Governor Dan McKee mentioned last night in his State of the State address, Dexter Street Commons. When can people expect to see, you know, when can they move in there if they wanted to?
Sometime 2026.
Okay.
So we did the groundbreaking. They're going to start actually digging, you know, putting opening the ground and doing all that thing, the official stuff. Sometimes the end of this month, early February. It's about 170 units, retail in the first. And we're getting we've got all these mill buildings that people renovate. So it's going to be active around the train station and with the stadium and the breweries. We're excited. I mean, you know, I hate to use the old cliche, but Pawtucket is on the renaissance. So.
And we've got just about 15 seconds left, but what's your top priority for the new year?
You know, first, like I said, I'm very fortunate to be in my 8th term. And it is basic, right? I mean, you want to move the city forward. It's education. We have to invest in our schools. We have some challenges with our schools. You know, we have 4 new schools that fell into CIS model. Talking to the superintendent. So education, we're going to continue investing in our buildings. But the bread and butter is always quality of life. So it's making sure the trash gets picked up, making sure the roads get done. And this year here is going to be a little challenging because we presume that there's going to be some funding changes coming from the state, which will affect us, and you try to balance that. But really is providing the service and continue building on what we have.
So. All right. Pawtucket Mayor Grebien, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.